He's raised to 36,000 here. Philip McAllister calls out of a stack of 1.74 million.
Yeah, that's a lot of dimp.
5K.
Oh, all right, my bad.
Yeah.
McAllister has the table chip lead, and in this hand he'll have the advantage of position. He's on the button.
Looks like we've got a decision.
Decision is to call as well.
You in hand, sorry.
Rabba comes in from the big blind, so we're three-way to the flop.
Jaya Rabba.
And that flop is Queen 8-4 with two clubs. Looks like Rabba has checked to the razor.
Makes sense. Tedeschi was actually on that French Global Poker Masters team. So my guess is he's a pretty good poker player.
It's been checked to McAllister. And I've been impressed by what we've seen from this guy today. He's held the tournament chip lead at various points over the last 48 hours.
He's striking that
Spectacular.
pose.
Really?
That supposedly means you're comfortable.
Sure.
A lot of poker players sit like
Spectacular is
that.
how you describe how you feel right now?
If what?
You would describe how you feel right now as spectacular?
This guy asks some weird questions.
I don't believe you.
He's nothing if
Get
not
back on the
entertaining.
Chinese poker. Win it back.
So the bet from McAllister is 48k.
There's nothing you can do there. Brutal. Brutal.
Yeah.
Rabba calls. What about the guy who started this with a pre-flop raise? Monsieur Tedeschi.
I think it's Paul Tedeschi, actually. Seems like that's a very common French first name, though. Monsieur.
No,
30-minute break.
just same thing as the last few days.
Yeah, 30-minute break at the end of this level, then one more level.
How are you, Taylor?
What?
How are you?
I'm okay.
That's a call as well. We're still three-way as we go to the turn.
It's really interesting. What would he raise pre-flop with? Not continue, but still call. And I think a lot of times it's going to be hands like tens and jacks, hands that maybe he wants to take a free card with. I mean, if it's jacks, he's really happy right now.
Yeah, Jack of Hearts on the turn.
I guess he could do it with some absolute monsters too. Slow play them, but I don't know. I don't see why he wouldn't just c-bet that flop.
Robert checks, and I think that was a check from Tedeschi. Yep.
How much do you have in greens? It's 200 in greens? 225?
He's gone from the one arm on one shoulder to two arms on two shoulders. The old water slide pose. Probably learned out there in the water park.
Philip McAllister bets again, 136,000.
So Tedeschi doesn't even have a pot-sized bet left behind.
Yeah, just realized he's the effective stack here, 388,000. Rabba is the other big stack at the table.
Yeah, this could be a potentially huge pot.
Especially as it looks like he's calling. Smallest chips in play are the yellow
Get any paper in
1,000s.
your pocket?
Blues are 5,000, greens are 25,000.
No.
Receipt or something?
Unless Tedeschi's really strong, I would be shocked to see him overcall
it's the
here.
last one. I'll go give you the last one now.
If he's got a big draw, he
yeah.
might just
You want
shove.
Sure.
But you can't broadcast it, right?
Okay.
Counted out the call.
He's raised all in.
Well, I think the worst he's gonna have here is a monster draw. I still kind of like him for jacks, and I guess queens is a possibility too. That would explain why he wouldn't want to c-bet, because he knows he can't get action on a board like that if 3 of the 4 queens are out. What just happened?
McAllister just called. He flats the all in.
So this pot is huge, 1.1 million in the middle, and Raba still to act.
I don't know how good the handwriting is.
Will cost him 252,000 to call.
It's pretty rare we would see 2 calls here.
But look at the price he's getting.
Cool.
Okay, well,
Does call, so let's be clear. We have 1 player all in. We have a pot of 1.4 million. We're going to the river with potential action on the side between the 2 big stacks at this table.
I like that one the best.
1.5 million in the middle. No one has a pot size bet left behind now.
Good point. River card is the ace of hearts.
So the flush draw gets there, the backdoor flush draw, the backdoor straight draw. Do these two just check it down? No, they don't. He bets 300. It's a pretty small bet, but I don't see why you would bet here unless you're betting for value. There's no point in bluffing McAllister off the hand.
So 300,000 into the side pot. Tedeschi competing for the main pot of 1.4 million. And now McAllister moves all in. And he's got Raba covered.
How does everyone have a hand here?
I have no idea. But obviously, Raba has committed most of his stack in this hand. He's got 851k left.
Over a mil.
1.175, I think. I missed it.
Don't be mad if I bluff you off a chop.
What is...
How much is it?
What hand does he think that they could be chopping with? King 10, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's only... I don't even see how they could both have King 10, because the only King 10 that gets as far is King 10 of clubs.
But it worked okay
Or
for
King
me.
10 of hearts.
It worked okay for me.
No, I'm saying in this spot.
Oh, in this pot I shouldn't speak?
No,
Okay.
him.
And that's true,
Oh,
yeah.
all right, okay, okay.
You walk away with
McAllister really shouldn't say anything. Tedeschi,
cool.
technically this is not a heads-up pot.
I don't know the poker etiquette. Obviously.
It's not even really etiquette. This is a rule.
It is a rule. This pot is officially multi-way with Tedeschi already all in. Now McAllister's all in. And if Raba calls, he's all in.
I like this angle. It looks like he's wearing like a karate headband. Daniel San.
This is a monster. How much is in there?
A lot.
Roughly.
Roughly a
Much
lot. Also, you're not in the hand, dude.
Couldn't say anything.
It's mental, isn't it? It's a huge one.
Stop talking.
Why the hand's done?
Not done.
Or did you not call? All right, I thought you called already. Sorry.
You went all in.
I thought he called though. Sorry, that's the mistake I've made.
You get to see the hand afterwards. I mean,
Man, he's got a real
Oh,
decision.
he went all. All right. Okay.
It's been in the tank for over 2 minutes.
Do you think he thinks this hard with King 10? Obviously, he doesn't have a flush. I mean, there's only one King 10 he can have.
Is this the classic why did I bet 300,000 on the river expression?
Yeah, right, because it just looked like such an easy bet to raise.
I don't know what Tedeschi's got, but he's got to be thinking this ain't good for me. Three minutes now.
Sorry, guys.
I mean, not only is this for his tournament life, but it could be for the tournament chip lead, too.
I think it's fair to say that this is probably the biggest pot of the tournament so far.
I mean, even though that says side pot 300,000, the side pot's more like 1.5 million.
Yeah.
Which puts 3 million in the middle. Granted, Raba can only win 851,000. Additionally.
Coming up on the 4-minute mark. Think everyone at the table calls the clock soon?
I know you're sick, but I don't know if you're that sick.
What does that mean? It means he has a really strong hand, like
Flip a coin. Literally. Probably best.
the second nuts. We don't care.
Yeah.
I'll give you 2 minutes and then I'll call the clock. Sorry.
So that's 2 minutes plus 1 minute. It's 3 minutes to make a decision.
This hand's been 17 minutes.
Has a minute.
I mean, at least.
I mean, it's a
I looked up when it said 46. Oh, I know.
Baffling the way this hand is played out. That's a call.
No, it's a fold. Yes. And he likes what he sees.
No, King 10 clubs.
King 10 of hearts for a royal flush.
It is a royal, and look at that, Tedeschi did have a set of queens. What a terrible, disgusting run out for what is going to be the best hand almost always.
That's what I...
Runner, perfect
Very
royal
likely, yeah.
flush.
I am trying to remember the last time we saw
I've never seen one.
a royal flush in an EPT, let alone on the feature table.
That is absolutely disgusting.
And a royal flush that eliminates a player who flopped top set.
Flop the nuts, lose to the super mega ultimo nuts.
The Royal?
Yeah.
Wow.
I knew he was going to lead 300. Like,
Oh, yeah.
I want to know what Raba folded.
Wow, so sick. You're not small, are you? Big blind? Give me one more hand, bro.
Okay. No, it's yours. It's yours.
What a fucking hand that was.
That was the craziest hand I've ever
We
seen.
may never know, but we do know Philip McAllister now has 2.7
Did you
million.
fold a flush or just King 10 of clubs?
Sick.
Cool.
And the limp in.
Cool. No raise.
I mean,
Yeah,
first
I mean-
level, you're not a big fan of limping in really in it with anything, or are you?
No, not at all. But I mean, I'm the term they use on the internet, all the young kids these days, it's called mind setting, where they're trying to like trap a set and they hit a set, and there you go. But oh my goodness me, look at this.
How big could this pot get?
6,000.
Set, flush, straight.
Wow.
Cool.
Quick call from Achilles. I mean, he's not really to know right now how much action he could get by fast playing this, is he?
No, but he's made absolutely the correct move, because the last thing he wants to do is see another spade on the turn.
Landers has got the straight. I mean, what should happen now?
Well, quite rightly, Timmy's obviously of the opinion that he's betting, say, a lone ace or a pair. He's got a big hand here.
And he's made a big bet.
Yeah. I mean, I can't see Kalakis putting his hand down. I think those two are going to go to war, but I can see Donahue being clever enough to pass, but it is a real tight spot, this.
Can you pass a set here? I mean, how many options does Donica have? Is raise an option right now for him?
No.
Call.
Now comes the move, because if Kalakis can push here, if he can find it within himself to push. Oh.
Call.
Is that a what kind of call is that? I mean, is he actually is he trying to slow play slow? Is he actually worried?
I think he knows he's winning, but he's just hoping a spade doesn't come in the end. Oh my goodness me! Wow.
Check.
Donica's got 4 threes, and I mean,
and he still looks like he's asleep.
Can this pot get bigger?
I can only see a call. I think if he bets here...
What's the bet size? What should the bet size be?
He's going to bet 32,000 in my book here.
40.
And there you go, bets 40. He's going to get called by Kalakis, and that allows Tim Flanders to fold, because Tim cannot be winning in this coup.
We've already seen Achilles is kind of on his A game tonight. I mean, obviously, the flush is good, a good hand, but... I mean, he doesn't think Donica would be bluffing here, does he?
The information he has got is he's in a 3-way coup, and a 3-way coup will open itself up to a full house being out there, as opposed to if it heads up, you just can't believe they've got it. In his mind, he's betting with the flush. He's playing a hand that's got a bigger flush draw, and maybe there's someone who's got 2 pair or a set.
If somebody had a bigger flush out there, I mean,
I think the hand would have been played faster.
Right.
So I mean that's probably going to mess up his thought process.
Because it's, I mean, and who's he more worried about? Is he worried about?
Call.
Yeah, and Tim has to pass here.
This has been one strange hand. It's kind of amazing that no one's going to go broke here.
Well, you see, what Kalakis' flush is just sort of mid-range, and he was scared of another spade coming out, because when he gets 2 opponents, he's thinking, I'm never going to make somebody with the ace of spades pass. So he needs to see no spades.
Look at that face, Tim. Physical torture pain. But 40,000 is nearly all his stack. Can he beat a bet and a call?
No. And I'm sure he's going to be clever enough to understand that. He's just mad that it's paired up at the end, but he doesn't know the pair up at the end has actually saved him. He's not going to be thinking that, but that's exactly how it is.
He's looking at Achilles. He's looking at Donica. I mean, in his wildest dreams, could he say to himself, Achilles? No.
Well, his best chance was to phone a friend. Yeah.
Oh, dear.
What a hand!
I thought straight.
What a hand!
I thought it was straight.
When
an actor and son of Goldie Hawn, who was at our featured table today.
And of course, he's the brother of actress Kate Hudson.
Action is on Sam Farha. On the Milwaukee's Best Light Pocket Cam, Farha has ace-10 offsuit. Sammy's going to bet 200 chips. Everybody in the room starts with their buy-in amount, 10,000 chips. Over to Oliver Hudson in 2002. He was one of People Magazine's 50 most beautiful people.
I don't see it.
Pocket tens.
Raise.
And Oliver has announced a raise.
Raise.
He's going to make it 450 to Sam Farha.
Sammy doesn't like to wait a long time to get his feet wet. This is the first hand of the session, and he's going to call with his ace-10 offsuit.
Oliver Hudson in the lead right now with his pocket tens. The flop is ace, ace, 10. Both get full houses, but Sammy's got the nuts.
You gotta be kidding me. This is the very first hand of the main event for both of these guys. Hudson has tens full. I mean, he can't get up. This is a disaster movie for him.
Farha earns the check mark, but both players check.
Both were slow playing it, and Mr. Hudson is in bad shape. He's got the tens full. He's not going anywhere.
A full house for Oliver Hudson, but it's second best. He bets 300 chips. Farha raises now to 1,300. That's a lot for this point of the tournament. Well, hand one.
All in.
And Hudson goes all in. And Farha calls immediately.
Oh, my God.
Very first hand of their main event. Sammy's got the nuts, and Oliver Hudson is in shock. I mean, someone needs to tell him he can get up. He is drawing dead. He's going home.
A meaningless jack on the river, and Hudson's gone.
First hand.
Nice hand, Sam. Thank you.
That is Despite the disparity between the first and 8th place players, it's still anyone's ball game. John Dolan folds over to the chip leader, Jonathan Duhamel. Jack 10 off.
His drill every day of the main event, breakfast and a little shadow boxing when he gets to the poker room, then he puts on his hoodie. I did that exact same routine on my third honeymoon.
Duhamel thrives on opening pots, and he does raise to $1.4 million. Mizrachi with ace queen of diamonds.
His final table mantra is, I don't care. So much on the line, but to reduce pressure, he says, I don't care.
Grinder played very little live poker before coming to the World Series this year, but then went on to play 42 of 57 events. And he makes the call here. Jarvis with pocket nines.
He says the sunglasses allow him to get into his own zone. When the shades are on, he's fearless.
Come on.
Jarvis going for it all in for just over $14 million. And that brings his dad, Norm Jarvis, to his feet.
Jarvis has about 23 big blinds left.
Condio in the small blind with 8-6 off. He will not play that. Jason Sentai now with the short stack, Queen Jack. And he folds. So the raise back to Duhamel. No thank you.
How much more is that?
It's for more than half of Mizrachi's stack. Does Grinder want to take that much of a risk on ace queen, chasing player of the year, chasing history, and chasing $9 million?
A critical moment for Mizrachi, who needs almost $13 million to call.
I call.
And he does make that call. Jarvis now at risk, but a lot on the line for the Grinder as well.
And now Matt Jarvis's hope of becoming the first Canadian main event champion hangs in the balance.
Matt Jarvis ahead right now. His family hoping he can extend his main event stay. Jarvis at risk. Now here's the flop. Queen, a queen! Mizrachi flops trip queens.
And Grinder shoves Matt Jarvis towards the exit.
Matt's family is stunned. Now, he seems to be taking it well. All right, the turn card. Oh, and there's the nine! Nine's full for Jarvis!
What a turn of events!
Oh, my goodness!
Where else but the main event can you find such a wave of changing emotion? Grinder now on the verge of becoming the short stack. Matt Jarvis all but gone. Looks like he's going to stick around.
Norm Jarvis hoping Matt can fade disaster on the river.
Small card. Such a final table sweat.
Grinder would need an ace, queen, or 8 to knock out Matt Jarvis.
It's an ace!
Oh, mama!
No way!
It's not possible, is it?
And the roller coaster ride comes to an end for Jarvis.
What was an almost certain double-up is now an 8th place finish. Dad cannot believe it. Grinder getting absolutely swarmed by his friends and family, while Jarvis gets some well wishes from his competitors.
So many emotional ups and downs for this family. So many ups and downs in this main event for Matt Jarvis. The Mizrachi clan continues their celebration. Grinder now third in chips, while on the other side of the stage, Matt getting consolation from his mom and his dad.
Don't have to play when you're playing cash game. In a tournament, these players will be getting dealt in and blinded out.
Patrick Antonius suited 10-9. And he's going to raise it to 2,500.
One of the few hands so far where someone hasn't straddled.
Tony G going to call this after Phil Ivey folded. Chris Ferguson folds. So does Hansen.
Well, pretty strong drawing hand so far.
So Joanda will call. 3 players to the flop. And here is the flop. Ace, Queen, 10 of diamonds.
Wow. I've only had 2 royal flushes in my career, Barry. This is a very rare hand. Obviously, Tony G with the nuts and no possible way of losing this hand unless he should somehow misread his hand and fold.
You had a big look like you're going to bet.
And it's been checked around to Patrick. And he checks his bottom pair.
I check. And so does Tony.
Well, of course, he's going to give his opponents a chance to maybe catch up a little.
And he catches a 9 of diamonds here.
Well, Patrick has 2 pair now. If it comes a 9 or a 10 on the river, he could get in trouble with a full house. Jawanda still with a pair and a straight draw, and Tony G is going to continue slow playing.
Queen of clubs.
Well, Jawanda made trips, but of course, he loses to any diamond. Needless to say, Tony G has better than that.
6,000 to bet from Tony G.
Jawanda gets away from his hand, and of course, Patrick can't possibly call. Well, he's thinking about it, maybe.
And he folds.
Pretty sick one. That's sick.
Oh.
I got a shot at that.
Wow.
What are the odds to flop that?
I had trips.
Sick. It's not often you can flop a.
Hey, Gavin, you should head over to the feature table for free beer. Get your 10 grand's worth.
Elsewhere, Ray Romano has settled into his new table. He's concentrating on the poker, but he's not in the hand. In fact, there is a big hand developing between Justin Phillips and Motoyuki Mabuchi. Mabuchi made a bet after the river onto that scary board. Phillips now fires back with a raise.
Has Justin Phillips bet the shirt off his back?
Action on Mabuchi. He's all in.
All in call, table
Phillips turns over a royal flush.
Royal flush.
Mabuchi, quad aces.
You gotta be kidding me. Quad aces, your last hand of the main event.
What a way to hit the rail.
There's nothing more ultimate than that.
That is a statistical improbability, my friends.
That's good. What a horrible river card for you.
If you flop a set of aces, river quads, and lose, that's a bad beat.
And Mabuchi does stumble out of the main event.
Take a picture of that one, dude. Oh, that's good. That is just...
If this happened to Phil Hellmuth, the table would no longer be here.
Coming down the table, sit down, boom. 4 aces, royal flush. How many times are you going to see that?
The chances of a royal flush and quads happening in the same hand, 1 in 2.7 billion.
I like you.
Yeah, you got to give some love to the dealer.
I get a little credit too, right?
That's it. You wouldn't have came here and I know what would have happened. You're the man. I love Raymer.
He loves Greg Raymer?
Everybody watch that show.
Greg Raymer has his own TV show?
Kings.
Mercier has 2 European Poker Tour titles.
A raise to 1,700. A reminder, this is a shootout format. The goal is to win your table, which earns you $75,000 and a spot at the final table. Matt Glantz showed us a 7, and he's got something else we know. It's good enough to make the call. Over to Moneymaker, ace, king of clubs in the big blind.
Chris would just love to put another big title onto his resume.
Chris with 2 players already in the pot. A re-raise to 4,100.
You have 3 5K chips?
Mercier with the Kings.
Come on.
Moves all in. He has both Glantz and Moneymaker covered. Glantz folds.
I call.
And a call from Moneymaker. Moneymaker at risk and behind.
He started the hand with almost 40 big blinds, and it looks like ace-king suited might be his last hand.
Jason Mercier in position to collect Moneymaker's bounty as Moneymaker exits the scene.
You should have to stay at the table. Brett Favre doesn't heave one up for grabs and run to the sideline and drink some Gatorade while waiting to see if it's intercepted.
All right, here we go. Chris Moneymaker awaiting his fate.
Maybe it's time for him to find a new line of work if he can't watch all in flops.
The flop is 10 trade jack, 2 clubs. Wow! Moneymaker now favored with a royal flush draw and 1 overcard.
Yeah, Moneymaker might win the hand now. What, he's going to be out wandering the strip when he hits his royal flush in a moment?
Turn card, 8 of spades. Mercier dodges trouble. He's now favored to knock out Moneymaker.
Well, Chris now should be halfway to his car because he is about to lose this hand.
River card, queen of clubs. Are you kidding? A royal flush for Chris Moneymaker.
If you're going to win, that's how you win.
No, you stay at the table and watch your fate. That's how you win.
Mercier takes it quietly.
What a hand for Moneymaker. He sticks around by making a royal flush.
I missed my daughter's birthday to be here, so I told her I was going to win.
have to be true.
He's on the right path.
The European Poker Tour is back in Barcelona for the first super high roller of the season.
When you're winning, other players tend to be a little bit afraid of you and you can run them over.
Actions on Steven Silverman. Queens under the gun.
Silverman was on the American Poker reality show 2 months, 2 million. It was the highest rated poker reality show in its time slot starring Steve Silverman.
He's raised to 15,000. Dan Smith has Queen Jack suited.
Dan's in rough shape, but he's got the exact kind of hand you can sometimes crack bigger hands with.
He calls. Negreanu's out. As are Bakar and Sieber. Ravensbeck will fold the big blind, so we're heads up to the flop. And that flop is Jack, Jack 5, trips for Smith.
Hi-ya! Steve's almost always going to bet this because he's almost always going to have the best hand.
He does continue for 27,000.
I don't think he's folding.
Nope. He calls.
Dan opts to just calls. There are plenty of hands he could peel a turn with that aren't nearly as strong.
6 of spades on the turn. Smith with a virtual lock on the hand, 98% equity.
None of these cards are really saving Silverman.
Bets again, 65,000.
Now, does Dan raise or just call and go for all his value on the river?
He calls.
River it is.
230,000 in the middle, Silverman with not much more than that behind. The case jack on the river, quads for Dan Smith.
This is just a horrific card for Silverman. He's now got a full house, and in his mind, he's only losing the aces or kings, which probably would have gotten him 3-bet pre-flop.
Silverman shoves.
Oy.
Call.
Dan Smith calls.
Quick check of the quads.
Get in.
No kidding.
That is just brutal.
Steven Silverman eliminated.
Good luck, guys. Appreciate that.
He folds. Eric Seidel opens from under the gun +1 with ace-queen to 16,000. Dan Smith has kings.
Almost always going to see a 3-bet with kings.
Not this time. He just calls.
Interesting. Dan's not wanting to look too strong, so he just calls. Calling reps a much wider range, and there's always a chance someone gets cute behind you.
Heads up to the flop. Quack, quack, quack.
Eric will probably continue with what he presumes will be the best hand a big percentage of the time. Dan, of course, flops a full house.
Seidel does continue for 18,000.
Let's see if Dan continues to play this deceptively by just calling. I think raising here would be a real mistake.
He does call.
Don't want to chase away that action.
Turn is a queen. Seidel now has a full house.
Really terrible card for Eric. He's now going to have the best hand almost all of the time.
Fires again. 25,000.
We know Eric is more likely to call a raise here than I am to call an ex-girlfriend after 2 a.m., but does Dan know that?
Dan does raise, makes it 75,000 total.
Dan claims to keep his cool in these spots. What do you people think? Is he giving anything away? Let us know on Twitter, #EVTBarcelona. Now, don't get me wrong, this raise looks extremely strong, but A, Dan's had quads once already. What are the odds? Am I right, people? B, B, and C closing. Always be closing.
A?
I remember now. Even though that raise looks super strong, there are, in Eric's mind, only 2 hands that are beating him, kings and aces. And what are the odds Dan flatted with those pre-flop?
On this occasion, he did. Seidel now checks the river, having called Smith's raise on the turn.
Would have been really sick if a deuce had hit. Dan obviously has to bet again, but he can't be like me when a girl lets me buy her a drink in a bar all eager. That's how you scare him off.
234,000 in the pot. He bets 200,000.
This is just a gross spot for Eric, you can tell, because all the liquid just drained from his body. You can't fault him for thinking about this, and you can't fault him if he eventually calls either. You can, however, throw him a parade if he somehow manages to lay this down. This is your run-of-the-mill / incredibly rare cooler crying call.
He can't get away from it. He calls, and Smith gets maximum value.
Eric Seidel's been getting brutalized by Dan Smith today.
Seidel loses 310,000 there.
Dan, don't say anything. Don't look at him. He is a legend.
I like the way he played that. In all things considered, I think it was really, really good way to play it.
Quiet, Daniel. He's right there.
So Dan Smith extends his chip lead. He's now playing. He's in the cutoff. And he has pocket aces.
Well, if you're looking to be the chip leader, I always recommend picking up aces. I don't know why more players don't do it. It's a no-brainer.
He raises to 14,000. Negreanu has jacks.
Daniel's been pretty miserable so far today, and it looks like he might get his wish for it all to be coming to an end.
I'm going to make it 38,000. And when I screw it up, it end up...
That'll be a 3-bet.
And potpourri of the mess.
Math is hard. Dr. Scalp is out of there.
Back on Smith.
I'm thinking re-raise.
Which will probably induce a shove, which will be called.
Okay, good luck. Call.
Sure enough.
That's good. I was like, whatever, let's just do it. I told you no thinking today, no matter what, I promised.
Story checks out.
I was happy he raised me. I really was. I wanted to get it in, but not against that. The prepay.
I don't think you're allowed to get cute when you have aces. None of that.
No jack.
Not even close.
Negreanu is going to need to see a jack on the turn or river to survive.
Aces, huh?
Yep.
Just the river to come. 2 outs for Daniel Negreanu.
Good luck, man. I don't think it's coming anymore. I changed my mind.
Insurance?
He's in this tournament for 100,000. He's got an amazing record in the super high roller format. He's 3 for 3 so far.
Dan Smith. He can do it.
Make that 3 for 4.
Good luck, man. All right, bud. Good luck, y'all.
Michael Watson, 6-5 suited. Raises, makes it 22K. Eric Seidel has pocket sixes.
Likely to see a call.
Sure enough, Eric does call. Dan Smith on the button has ace-king.
Dan's almost certainly going to 3-bet here, in position with all that action behind him. And don't forget those massive chips.
He re-raises to 63,000. Sam Chartier's just joined the feature table. He folds. Simon Ravensbeck also has ace-king.
Another ace-king out there. This is going to make things pretty crazy.
Ravensbeck 4-bets to 134,000. Watson and Seidel both fold.
Nah, this is a little less exciting now since these two are destined to chop.
Smith 5-bets.
I'm all in.
Ravensbeck moves all in, and Smith calls.
This guy Ravensbeck must have some rep, considering none of these guys ever appear to be afraid to get it in with him. 96% chance of a chop. No reason to hide that gorge face now.
The flop has 2 spades on it, and Smith holds the ace of spades.
Backdoor sweat.
And there's a spade on the turn. Oh, come on. That would be too gross, right?
Anyone else holding spades? I don't want to know.
Trust me, neither does Ravensbeck.
And the river brings another spade.
Oof. That was less cool than talking about a guy's bachelor party in front of his wife.
That was grotesque.
Dan, it's okay if you want to laugh.
Ravensbeck gets 4 flush, and a big stack is taken out by the chip leader, who now has close to 2.8 million, a phenomenal number of chips.
Can we please lose another player soon? That average makes me uncomfortable.
Dan Smith, Jack 9 offsuit. Smith, the overwhelming tournament chip leader.
It's been folded to him. He's in relatively late position.
Yeah, he's in the cutoff. He raises to 36,000. Gets rid of Kurzovic on the button.
Kurzovic folds a dominating hand.
JC Alvarado folds the small blind. Mike McDonald has Jack 10 in the big blind.
Also has Smith dominated, but he is out of position.
Looks like Mike will defend, and we will see a flop. That flop, 7 Jack 9, 2 pair for Smith, the straight draw and top pair for McDonald.
This flop is the worst thing to happen to a McDonald since trans fats got banned.
McDonald checks to the razor. Smith continues for 52,000.
Even though Mike's way behind, top pair and a good gut shot is almost just as good. Just not quite.
McDonald calls.
Looks like he might even think his hand is too strong to raise there.
The turn is another Jack, another full house for Dan Smith. McDonald improves to trips.
This is just getting insanely bad. This is the worst thing to happen to a McDonald's since New York City banned large sodas.
McDonald checks a second time. Smith, or better second time by the looks of things. Sure enough, 133,000.
There's a good shot. Mike just calls again, wanting Dan to keep repping that Jack, which he is doing because he has it.
How much is Mike McDonald going to lose in this hand?
At least another 133,000.
Yeah, he calls, taking us to the river. 462,000 in the pot. No 10 on the river. Smith still good.
Let's see how Mike plays this. Does he lead the river and hope for a call? No, he checks the river and hopes for a bet.
He's going to get it.
He is gonna get it.
371,000.
That is a huge bet. Now Mike might be worried Dan's actually got a better Jack. This is one of those polarizing bet sizes. Dan's not doing this with most of his non-nut value hands.
I call. Mike calls.
Whoops.
1.2 million chip pot will slide across to Dan Smith.
There's really not much you can do there. You gonna fold 3 Jacks? No. Hand was just a cold deck. The worst thing to happen to a McDonald since heart disease.
Dan Smith is now playing nearly 3.5 million. He has more than 3 times the tournament average.
He's riding the chip train up Cha-Ching Mountain. Programming on the Discovery Channel.
Blinds at 8,000, 16,000 with a 2,000 ante. Liviu, the Romanian pro, has pocket 10s. And he is raising, makes it 32,000. Right. We'll pass the Jack 8.
Woof.
8-7 suited for JC Alvarado.
On the button, yum, yum. If this hand looks delicious, then being in position.